Tell your friends you listen to the Verhoeven Effect podcast. I'm Conlon,
And I'm Nathan.
and we have another very special episode. We have the 1962 movie The Manchurian Candidate. Nathan, what do you have a history of The Manchurian Candidate?
I picked this up in a video store in 1995 because I had never heard of it before.
Huh.
And the reason why is because it didn't come back into general release until like 1990.
Huh.
But it was shown on TV a few times in the 70s.
Hmm.
But then I guess the rights expired and Frank Sinatra bought the rights and just chose not to release it. So as he was dying and his estate was being liquidated, somebody got the rights to it and they released it again.
Huh.
So it was so I discovered this movie like because I'd seen 7 Days in May a lot, and it's like, oh, this is another John Frankenheimer. He did this right after he did 7 Days in May right after this, because we watched that one. That was the one about the coup.
Did we watch that?
Yeah, because the one guy was the general.
I don't remember watching that.
I thought for sure we did. I don't have it called up.
It's got Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas.
Yeah, Kirk Douglas is the main guy. Yeah, because remember, he was the general or whatever that wasn't in on it. And he sent guys around to different places and slowly put together, like, oh, because I think Burt Lancaster was the bad guy. And, yeah, because, what's his name? Because Kirk Douglas was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And,
I don't have us doing it, at least not for this show.
Okay, maybe we didn't do it. Maybe we'll have to do it because I'm really familiar with that one.
Well, there's that one, and then like there's another podcast that did another one of the movies that was like a thriller called Black Sunday. It's like we probably got to do that at some point. That's
crazy.
That's
a great one. Yeah.
So.
Okay, yeah, but 7 Days in May is about a coup.
Okay,
and that one, because JFK liked the Manchurian Candidate. Well, he liked the book a lot, but he liked the movie so much he let them. All the 7 Days in May, the scenes in the Oval Office are at the actual Oval Office. Kennedy was president then. It's like, yeah, you can shoot there. I'll just go to Kennebunkport for the weekend. And it's like, because they didn't have to make a set for the Oval Office. They actually shot there.
Huh.
Because he was a fan of John Frankenheimer's work because he really liked the Manchurian Candidate.
Huh.
As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for Frank Sinatra and JFK being friends, this movie probably wouldn't have gotten made. Because Kennedy was like, who's playing the mom? I love the mom in that book. Like, oh, Angela Lansbury. It's like, oh, yeah, she's like that British hottie, right? Yeah. She'll be good in that role. But, yeah, that was... So, yeah, there's a lot of Kennedy connections to this movie. And 7 Days in May, which is weird as hell, considering the JFK assassination, how it happened, who was involved, and yeah, that's why this movie is like, it's like this is an entry into conspiracy theories because there's so many weird parallels between JFK, the assassination, and this movie. Not entirely direct line parallels, but close enough, considering the book was written in '59. And the movie was released in like 62 and Kennedy wasn't killed till 63. It's like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah, I think it was my first time watching it all the way through. I think I've seen bits of it before. I've actually seen the 2004 one more than I've seen this one. But that was directed by Jonathan Demme, so it's like, oh, cool, the Silence of the Lambs guy. I'll see what he's doing with this. Because I knew the concept, but
yeah.
Which that's like that's what's interesting about this movie, because sometimes you watch like older movies and like they're just kind of like so naive that it's embarrassing.
Yeah,
and,
not
like,
this movie.
This movie is so brutal and like so heady and all that stuff. Like it doesn't get everything right, but it's like you can see it thinking about stuff and doing it in the right way, where it's more like it's not like, well, this isn't exact science, but this is kind of what's going on here, and it's like, well, that's enough. That's all we need. So.
Yeah, the book was let's see, the book was written in 1959 by Richard Condon, who he is The book is similar to the movie. There are a few differences, but mainly because of what releasing a movie in the 60s was like and what you could and couldn't have in it. Um, but there were a lot of interesting things that went into the book. Oh, what was one thing? Oh yeah, this guy Richard Condon got investigated by the government because he called and asked about brainwashing programs. I called the FBI. It's like, I'm an author, because a lot of authors will just go ask people, like, what can you tell me?
Yeah.
Guys like Tom Clancy that just become intelligence gadflies.
Yeah.
Hey, what can you tell me about this? Let's drink. And then all of a sudden this stuff's appearing in the book, and like, how did you steal that information? It's like, I didn't steal anything. They told me this. It's like, I'm not going to tell you who, but they did. Yeah. So Richard Condon was just like calling the FBI and like, hey, can you put me in touch with people like that do like behavioral stuff, and can you like brainwash people, which that was a new term in the 50s, being brainwashed. And like, it basically meant, can you erase people's memories and minds and make them do things? And this guy was asking very specific, very pointed questions that were kind of parallel to things they were actually working on and trying to understand. So yeah, he got investigated because of his questioning. It's like, yeah, this weirdo showing up and asking very specific questions about stuff that, may or may not be going on. We don't know. Because see this ties in with the Richard Helms, the Church Committee, and MK Ultra, which is like, the limited information we have about that is like, that is this, like, that is trying to erase people's minds, make them into assassins, couriers, things like that. Now, as far as we know, it never worked, but considering 95% of the documentation was destroyed, like, we don't know. So, but yeah, this is why this movie has become a go-to or an entree into the world of like, this is how they killed Kennedy. And it's like, well, not exactly. It's a very hard-hitting movie. And it's a very blunt movie, and it doesn't pull a lot of punches on.
It seems like conspiracy theorists really only operate on their imagination and less on reality. So that's why movies and books work on them so well.
Well, you have to synthesize events, because, like I was saying, we didn't know until the 70s that MK Ultra was real. It's like, oh yeah, there's documents. But Helms and the guys at the CIA burned it all before Nixon resigned and all, because the stuff they were doing was so bad. And so you take, because the information is not present, so then you have to synthesize it.
Yeah.
So what's the reality? They perfected this and they're still doing it, or they tortured U.S. and Canadian citizens with LSD and what's that called? Electroshock stuff that was beyond any moral bounds of what the legitimacy of that was, and then they just wanted to burn all the data because they didn't want to be remembered for doing it. That's the most likely thing that happened. But the imagination thing is like, they figured out how to do it, and now they're doing it even better.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to believe either one of those because either one's possible, because these people risk the rest of their lives in prison destroying this information. Wasn't for having people in place that just were like, no, we're not imprisoning people over this because we don't know. What are you going to do? Put somebody's secretary in jail for the rest of her life because she was told to do something by her boss? That's how things worked in the 60s and 70s. You didn't question these guys. Nowadays, you take pictures of it with your phone, but not
this is going on my TikTok. I'm going to blow up.
Yeah.
Came out October 24th, 1962, so none of us were alive.
No.
Director is John Frankenheimer, who he seems like he has a storied career, but it's like weird. His top 4 films are The Manchurian Candidate, The Island of Dr. Monroe, which I don't know how that got fit in there, 7 Days in May, and George Wallace, a TV miniseries.
Yeah.
But like, we did Ronin, one of his movies, which is great actioner. I always remember Reindeer Games because it was like one of his last movies.
Yeah.
I thought it was totally fine, but maybe we'll have to watch it again. It's like, oh yeah, no, everyone was right. This is an awful movie. I had fun with it. So. And like you said, yeah, he did 7 Days in May, Black Sunday, French Connection 2, weirdly.
Yeah. It's a very strange sequel to the French Connection because it takes place in France with Popeye Doyle running around beating up Frenchmen. It's kind of a weird, and it's a little more arty
Yeah.
than the original French Connection.
Grand Prix, which
Yep.
that was the first F1 movie, I think, has James Garner, and then like, oh, was it Yoshiro Mifune,
Yeah.
the dude from all the Kurosawa movies? Like he's in it as like a Japanese driver. And that had some interesting like cinematography to it because that's they're just mounting cameras to cars, and because that's always Frankenheimer's kind of what he's known for, is like really interesting cinema, or at least brave cinema, or new kind of like looking at
The way his filmmaking style was described to me is he came from TV, and that's how he shot a lot of his movies with a lot of the techniques he learned on TV. Because there's a lot of like close-up shots of people's faces, a lot of tracking shots into people's faces, because you did that a lot on TV.
Yeah.
So the sets were not usually like up to spec. They were obviously like close, inside sets. So you did a lot of what I call Twilight Zone filmography or photography, where you just like, we're just doing close-ups on people's faces. They're yelling. We're going to pan the camera around to the next guy talking. And that's kind of the world he came from.
Okay.
So that's where his style developed, because there's a lot of that in this movie. Close-ups from the bottom of people's faces. They're yelling. Just weird stuff's going on. People are acting, in very unusual ways. Yeah, he did a lot of stuff like that.
And that's like it. Like Citizen Kane isn't really an easy movie to go back to, but if you go back to it like with kind of a commentary of like learnings, like you see this like cinematic thing that they're doing here, like nobody did that before.
Yeah.
Or weirdly, we took this from Leni Riefenstahl. It's like, it's like we used propaganda for good and not for evil. So.
Yeah. We did steal it from her, but she's a Nazi, so we get to have it. Just like we get to go to the moon first because we're Nazis. Yeah.
So yeah, that's Frankenheimer. The cinematographer is Lionel Linden, who he basically, like, all his most known films are all the ones he did with Frankenheimer. Like, I think he did 7 Days in May, Grand Prix, Manchurian Candidate. I think the only other one was like Around the World in 80 Days. That was the only other one that kind of stuck out for me. So,
yeah. He mainly worked with LeMay a lot, or he worked with Frankenheimer a lot.
Yeah. I guess.
And Frankenheimer was he was really a shot guy too. He was really into the cinematography because he had a way he liked to tell stories.
Okay.
And he had a way, and he also had a way where he liked scripts to move along, which led to a lot of there was some of his movies, they had like, everyone was like, well, there's script problems. It's like, no, he just wants to cut it down more. Again, that goes back to the TV roots of like, we can't have all kinds of exposition here. We got to cut this back.
And then the writer is George Axelrod, who also wrote Breakfast at Tiffany's and The 7-Year Itch, which that has the famous steam grate scene or whatever with Marilyn Monroe.
Yep.
Which that's in 1955, so that seems kind of risky. So. That was in color, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Or at least it's what's shown here in color. Maybe it was remastered or something. I don't know, something, because like sometimes it seemed like movies in the 60s where it's like they're in black and white. It seems to be like usually like it was either an economical choice or it was a choice for the content is kind of seen as too risky or risque or whatever, and like it was like kind of dampened by being in black and white. you know, there's not like blood or anything like that, because like I think Psycho came out around the same time here, and then it's like, well, it's not a bathtub full of red blood. It's just chocolate syrup, but you're just putting the movie magic for you. It's like, well, that's blood, but not really. So,
Yeah.
yeah, novel by Richard Condon. It lists Frankenheimer as doing like an uncredited rewrite of this, but I never believed that stuff. Like, probably.
In this case, I'd say that's probably true.
But it's like, it's not documented, so it's like, I don't know what he wrote. We don't know. But
Yeah,
like,
I couldn't like tell you specifically what happened. I could tell you the elements from the book that were not included in the movie.
Okay.
But they were more elements than like whole plots of the story.
Okay.
Because the book's not huge. I think the book's like 281 pages.
Okay.
I believe it's not like a 5. Let me look that up. I'm not full of shit.
But yeah, definitely. I bet if if Frankenheimer's a TV guy and he's like, we got to get this shot done, it's like, yeah, but the dialogue's not working. It's like, he probably just writes something up in the moment. They figure something out, and then that goes into the movie. So it's like, because you hear that all the time, where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that wasn't in the script. They just came up with that on the day. Like you were talking about with that one scene in Body Snatchers, where like the best scene in the movie is not written. It just came up by the actor.
Ad-libbed by the actress. Yeah. Yeah, the revised edition was 323 pages.
Okay.
So that means they probably wrote an intro to it also to pad it out, but it was probably originally 280 something.
And then the cast is Richard Wait, no, that's right. I probably put that down. I don't think Richard Condon was in the movie.
Yeah, he was not an actor in the movie, or even an extra.
That was probably supposed to be. Why am I forgetting the singer's name? Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, yeah.
Yeah, I put in the wrong thing. Which I kind of, because like usually when I see like movie appearances by Frank Sinatra, like even the original like Ocean's 11, like it's kind of all kind of tongue in cheek, and it's just Frank Sinatra having fun in front of the camera. He's not really like great actor. And then in this, he's like, oh, he works in this. That's weird. I mean, there's the weird stuff where he's like was he? Is he like from like New Jersey or something like that, or New York, or?
Yeah, something like that.
They had where he like talks almost like it's like a 50s like gangster movie or whatever. It's like what's like the phrases he used, like it's like, tell him like like I'm not doing it anymore, the ball game's over or something like that. And stuff like that. It's like,
yeah, it's a lot of one-liners and singing. It's a lot of like musicals. Those were a lot of his movies.
Yeah.
And then it became kind of a different in this one it was kind of a different thing. But he was really fascinated by the story.
Okay.
And so was Kennedy. And because Kennedy loved the book, I guess. And he was talking to Frank Sinatra about it. And it's like, someone ought to make this into a movie. Frank's like, I've been in movies and I'm famous.
Okay, so he kind of like forced his way in because he liked it, and then like he ended up being like good for it.
Sort of, yeah. It was one of those things that like came together.
Okay. Yeah, because I know he's also like he's in a movie called The Detective.
Yep.
Which technically, the way things are written out, the sequel to The Detective is a book called Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe, which that's the book Die Hard is based on.
Okay.
And so technically, like Frank Sinatra had like the rights to play this character in sequels. So technically, Frank Sinatra is supposed to be John McClane had he like bullied his way into it or something like that.
That would have been interesting.
His character is not called John McClane. It was changed over when it was made into Die Hard. But it's just always fun to think about that. It's like oh, Frank Sinatra and Die Hard.
Frank Sinatra is from Hoboken, New Jersey.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, Frank Sinatra, Lawrence Harvey, and Janet Leigh, who just
Yep.
kind of shows up. Man, like the relationships in the movie are so sudden and weird, and I don't know if that's just like men not knowing how to write women, or just like, ah shit, we gotta throw this in here for some because we need relationships.
Actually, the reason why there was so many well, yeah, I mean, some of it was like, yeah, at the time, women are just eye candy, but also like Raymond Shaw is a shattered human being
Yeah.
who's just put together by drugs and hypnosis. So yeah, his relationships with women are very understandable. Everyone else has also, to some degree or another, been engineered like Shaw. So they're all kind of like Frank Sinatra's just like Major Marco's just messed up.
Yeah.
He doesn't really actually control his emotions very well. He can be, he's like, I'm going to be subtle and coy about this, and it's like, well, people could die, and it's like, yeah, we'll work that out. There seems to be a lot of people really casual about what's going on because everyone in this movie is basically unlikable. Or at least, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the Frank Sinatra character is like, he's trying.
Yeah.
He's like the hero of the movie, but yeah, Raymond Shaw is like written to be hated, and he acts that way, and he was never a good person.
Yeah.
But when you find out who his mother is, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, but like the Jocelyn character who's just like this beaming light that comes out of nowhere is like, why did she have like a thing for him? Like, maybe
Because she's everyone's mom. She's the good woman, the good mom who's like, I can save anybody. Anyone can be saved. She's not knowing she's like just staring into the face of like, mind bending evil.
Yeah.
And it's like Raymond Shaw's not evil. He's
Yeah.
unlikable, but he's like
he's
like
coerced and compromised. So.
Yeah, he's not like, he doesn't have normal.
He doesn't want to do it. You can see him crying and being emotional about this. So.
Yeah, he's not happy with it. So, but yeah, that's why I think the people in this movie do seem, especially some of the relationships with women, are like, God, that's really gross. Is that like how would you say it? Like, what do they call that? Male piggishness. Like, what's it called when you hate women? Misogynist.
Yeah.
Are all these guys just sex misogynists? It's like, no, they're brainwashed nuts is what they are. And these women, of course, are like, well, we can save them.
I mean, Eleanor's a strong character, but like too strong that she's actually the evil one. So.
Well, that's where like I can tell this movie parallels like Hamlet. Because remember, Hamlet's mom was a lot like this.
Yeah.
She was very manipulative. She didn't have the power of hypnosis, but she was very manipulative and always played with her son's emotions and stuff. And it's like, I'd be willing to bet Richard Condon used Hamlet as a template for this movie, because it's very much the same. It's the same like beginning act of like lost people coming home, the evil queen and the stepfather, and then in the end everyone's dead, and it's like, well, that's Hamlet. You've just created Hamlet. So,
but then there's the Rosie character who she's like, oh, this man can't smoke. He seems like he's probably on some sort of drugs. And then like she like leaves her fiance for him, and it's like, I know like that makes no sense. Who would ever do that? That just seems like a dangerous situation all the way around. But I imagine if you're in the 1962, it's like, yeah, what woman wouldn't go for Frank Sinatra? But like, I don't necessarily have that
bad guy. And in this movie, he's like an army major. It's like, he's got a pension coming. Stick with this guy. He's exciting. Yeah, it's weird that she gets like third bill on the movie poster, because it's like the biggest actors. There are three biggest people in this movie: Frank Sinatra, Lawrence Harvey, and Angela Lansbury, who gives the best performance of her career and said before she died, that was the best performance of my career. I loved making that movie, because there was only 3 years difference between her and Lawrence Harvey.
Huh, okay.
She was only 3 years older than him, which John Frankenheimer, I'll tell you, well, when we do the wrap up, I'll tell you the stuff that was in the book that wasn't in the movie. But there's a reason, like, it's like, I like the way these two people interact as actors, because there were some things that went on in the book that couldn't be put in the movie that, like, oh, okay, that's weird.
So yeah, I guess we'll just get into it. We have Act 1. We got titles, Korea, 1952. An army truck on the road at night pulls up to a building. It's a brothel. Staff Sergeant Shaw, this is Raymond Shaw, comes in and blows a whistle and demands all the soldiers leave, which they don't listen to him, but like they reluctantly like lazily gather their stuff and get out of there. But
yeah, they're not hustling. Like,
so you then when that scene, the soldiers are out on patrol, and then like they hear machine gun fire. Their scout or translator said there's not a safe way forward, and so they walk in a single line on like a ridge, and then just some Russian soldiers show up and knock them all out, don't kill them, and then taking them away in helicopters. And then we see like the guide like kind of shakes hands with one of them, so the guide sold him out. Then we get to the opening credits, which is just like almost like these are like old school opening credits where it's like this is like I guess, yeah, this would be kind of weird because we do kind of say like, hey, these are the long credits. These are like the get your popcorn credits.
yeah.
But here the story starts before the credits do, so I'm not I'm not sure necessarily like the positioning of the credits here, or if you just wanted to start with the mystery and then have to have opening credits because it was like required or something like that. But, yeah, what is it? Are they like? I can't remember what the credits are. Are the credits like a silhouette of a TV and they show the actors and the names or something like that?
It's something like that. It almost looks like TV intro credits.
Yeah.
It's kind of unusual.
After the credits, we open on an airport with returning soldiers and a crowd celebrating. Shaw's is returned home here. He's won the Medal of Honor. We got a narrator. Like this is the only time the narrator exists for like the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it explains how he won the Medal of Honor. Explains like I'm forgetting the citation of of what he did to win the Medal of Honor, which basically it's like, oh, they caught fire and he like, led the men to like destroy an entire like, oh, what do they call it? I can't remember. Like platoon,
company.
Company. Oh yeah, company's like. Yeah, that's like 300 people, but
it might have been a smaller group than that.
It was part of a company, whatever.
Yeah.
Shaw's mom, Eleanor, played by Angela Lansbury, who, if you know her, it's probably from Murder, She Wrote, which I didn't realize had like 262 episodes.
Yeah, it ran almost 12 years.
Because like... I mean, I must have seen, because I think it ran to like 94 or something like that. No, like 96. It was like 84 to 96. So I must have seen like a live episode of Murder, She Wrote. But it was also like during its run was like all on reruns like all the time. So it was just Murder, She Wrote was just everywhere. And I don't know how successful it was, but it was 12 seasons successful. So it must have worked in some respects. It shows up with his stepfather, who's a senator, like just posing for a photo opportunity. So this all seems like sick and like misplaced. It's like, oh yeah, we don't love you, son. We just love the publicity you bring us. So.
Yeah, like, they're pretty open about it.
Yeah. They get on a plane that's like tricked out for like sleeping and has a bar. Which, I guess I expect this to exist somewhere, but I was like, oh, this is 1962, and it's not just like pure, like, efficiency. It's like, oh, here's something just wasteful and full of aesthetic. Which, I don't know, maybe that was the 60s, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
So.
There was probably elements of that.
Let's see here. Why did I write Robert? Shaw says he's going to go to New York and get a job working as like a researcher for like, was it a newspaper or something, or a magazine?
Yeah, it's a newspaper.
Okay.
Maybe a magazine. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Eleanor claims the guy that he's going to work for is a communist, but that's kind of like
anyone they don't agree with is a communist. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. From now until the end of time, if somebody doesn't agree.
That's anything new.
And we cut to Major Bennett Marco, Frank Sinatra. He's sleeping in bed. He was in the opening scene, but like I I thought, is that Frank Sinatra in the truck where Shog is out of? And like I think it was, but then like I don't recognize him like in the patrol at all or anything like that. So like I kind of like, was he a part of this group? Did he also get brainwashed? And so he was, but I
Yeah.
wasn't. I was confused for a moment there. Um, he's sleeping in bed. He has night sweats and he's having a nightmare. We get a flashback from his time in Korea, which I don't know. Like when did you think they started putting like shell shock and flashbacks in movies?
They were talking about it after the Second World War.
Okay.
Um, yeah, they had made movies where that was an element.
Because like I remember, like I imagine, like because the way like people talk about shell shock and stuff like that now, it's like what, post traumatic stress disorder.
Right.
Like in that time, it was seen as like a weakness. So I'm wondering, like in this movie, are they being bold by having like men of honor admitting to their weaknesses and having nightmares that they can't control and it's affecting their daily lives? Was that unusual to see?
Yeah, I mean, it was a controversial movie. I remember there were people that didn't like elements of it.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if that was a thing. So
Yeah. Now it had been talked about,
okay,
but it wasn't like exactly mainstream. And this wasn't and also these guys, it wasn't like portrayed as I mean, it was like everyone around them thought, oh, these guys are screwed up from the war, like we've seen that, but it's actually they weren't. They were screwed up from brainwashing.
yeah.
So they kind of like moved around that.
um the troops are bored by a presentation on hydrangeas, I think, or something like. I don't know what that is. The camera.
Yeah, it's like because they've been brainwashed on one level to believe they're at a ladies' flower club, and one of the ladies is giving a presentation on like, oh, these flowers won't grow blue and this if the soil is not acidic enough, or that's like the surface thing. And then as the scene goes on and develops, it's like all of a sudden these weird like Russian generals and Chinese people start showing up. And it's interesting how John Frankenheimer did this. He built two sets that rotated and then they meshed together.
Yeah.
As people's memories became more like clear about what happened.
Yeah, because the camera pans around to show, like, okay, this is like an event center and a hotel that they're at, and these like soldiers are out of place here. It's like, what are they doing here? Like they were just in Korea. Like, what does this have to do with anything? And then as the camera like rotates back around to the beginning, the set has changed. Now it's got the Soviet star and it's got Mao and Stalin on the wall. And it's like, wait, what the hell's going on here? And then the great thing where it's like, there's always this lady talking, giving this presentation. So, but when they have the reality where it's like this doctor, was it Dr. Yin or something like that, talking, and then like whenever the brainwashed people address Dr. Yin, they're like, yes, ma'am, because they think it's a woman giving this presentation. Hydrangeas. So.
Yes, his character's name is Dr. Yen Lo.
Okay.
Who is pronounced the actor's name is Nai Kaidi or whatever, which is he was born in New Jersey. But he's
a Sinatra guy.
he's British, Egyptian, and Sudanese ancestry. So he's not even like Asian, but he looks like, and he also, I think he played an Asian guy on Hawaii Five-0, the TV series.
Yeah.
That's where this guy's from.
Yeah, but who's played an Asian guy?
Who?
John Wayne, so.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's the one where they all got cancer because they were setting off nuclear bombs in the same desert they were filming that. What's that movie called? It was about Genghis Khan, right?
Yeah. I think it's just called Genghis Khan.
Okay, yeah, I've never seen that. I've heard it was really weird, and it sounds like it. Well, Pilgrim, we're going to go wipe out Baghdad.
So yeah, they're kind of cutting between the psychologist and the lady presenter, and it's it's making things like discombobulating, so it's very effective in that way.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm not sure like hey, other people haven't done this before, because like we saw Hitchcock movies from the 40s, and like that was also excellently done and like dealt with the thriller and kind of like, like this is stuff has been explored before. Just not sure if it was done in this way necessarily just yet. So, and then Shaw is singled out for like not killing someone, except maybe in combat. So they see that as like, okay, this guy isn't a killer, because doesn't, because he seems like he doesn't know if he killed anybody in combat. He just assumes it. So that they use this as a test to like, well, if we have this guy who's never killed somebody, because that's not his nature, then we know that we're completely brainwashing him.
Yeah.
So he's given a scarf and told to strangle. Was it Captain like Maldev or something like that?
Corporal Maldev, I thought.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he just like, it's a funny bit here because like he's given the scarf and he like kind of casually walks around people. He's like, excuse me. Also, this guy who's playing this character of Shaw has like, is this like a New England accent where he sounds almost British or something like that?
The Lawrence Harvey where's he born? He's actually born in Lithuania.
Okay.
But he was, I think he grew up in the United Kingdom after World War II.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, him and Angela Lansbury were both essentially from England.
Okay, then I guess then his accent makes
but they're trying
sense.
to do they're trying to make it sound like those New England accents that some people have, where it's like, well, is that British or is that New England? What do they call that? Atlantic accents? Or something?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're trying to do those like what everyone else would just say, oh, these are British people or American people trying to pass as either British or American people. So they have this accent like this where it's not like really super ethnic. They're not doing like, lock, stock, and two smoking barrels accent. So it's like, oh, okay.
So yeah, he puts a scarf on the one dude and starts to strangle him to death, and that's when Marco wakes up from his nightmare, where he springs into the camera, eyes wide.
Yeah.
So that would be in Act 1. We got Act 2. Marco's giving a debriefing with officers talking about like the nightmare he has, which I don't know. This feels like weirdly progressive. Like I don't feel like a military council would listen to this shit. So.
Well, that's one of the vagaries of the book and the movie. It's like you don't know how much the government actually knows about what may or may not be going on. So it's like, oh, what's Marco figuring out? Let's listen. Let's indulge and be like, yeah, we'll be supportive and not just be like, quit being have a shot of whiskey and be a man. You would think would come from that era.
Yeah.
But, because when Marco finally figures out and talks to people, they're like, oh yeah, we know who that is. We know we knew about this, and we don't know everything, but we know who these people are and what they're trying to do. So it seems like on one hand, and you can never suss this out. You're never given a direct answer, but it seems to me like the people he's talking to seem to know more than what they appear to.
Yeah.
At least that's what I get out of it.
And I get like I have like a weird sense of respect in this movie, even though like this isn't like physically what happened, but that there was like behind the scenes is how stuff worked. It's just gathering and assembling information and presenting it. Like today, like we could figure this out like on our phones and do it. It's like, here you go, this is what's happening. But like it takes an entire department and coordination, because there's not like
there's people on typewriters, papers being ripped off and things going into pneumatic tubes, and like now you'd sit down with a computer, it'd be like Star Trek. Like, oh, we figured this out in 15 minutes. Back then it requires and also requires a suspension of disbelief that we take for granted now that they probably didn't have back then. They just took everything at face value.
Yeah.
It's like, well, the government's generally good and communists are always bad and we're the good guys and no one would do anything bad in America. Okay. Now it's like, it's almost the opposite. It's like we're the bad guys and everyone's out to get us. Our leaders are sacrificing toddlers to Moloch or whatever weird stuff people want to believe. It's like, oh no.
Marco thinks Shaw is compromised in some way. It also seems to become like some of the brainwashing doesn't work on Marco.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, this guy's an asshole. Like, why are people celebrating him? It's
Yeah.
like, well, here's his brave action he did. It's like, you confirmed it. It's like, I know, but this guy sucks.
Nobody liked this guy. He was the worst staff sergeant I ever had. He was because he was doing this at the like everyone knew he came from a rich family, right?
Yeah.
And he was a snob to the other soldiers, and it's like, yeah, nobody.
I mean, this is kind of like Charlie Sheen's character in Platoon.
Okay.
Like, he was a college graduate who didn't need to enlist. He could have became an officer, but he enlisted instead. So.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like, you know, he just wants to be, you know, a grunt like everybody else. But it's like, what the hell? And everyone's like, the fuck are you doing here? You had choices and you chose this. And some people, it's just a sense of honor or whatever. It's like,
yeah.
Well, my life's kind of taken care of for the rest of my life, so I better prove myself by serving my country. So
I can't go out and do really bad things later in life to make a lot of money. I need to pad that a little bit with being a war hero. Or, you know, whatever the thinking is. Because never forget, the guy that ran Blackwater was actually a Navy SEAL who came from a billionaire rich family.
Oh, okay.
Still not a good guy at the end of the day, not based on the things he says and does, but it's like, yeah, he did become.
He served his country, I guess.
An enlisted
took advantage of it fully.
Yeah. And then formed a paramilitary group, Blackwater, and it's like, so there are people like that. Like,
finally come full circle when Blackwater is hired to work against America.
Yeah. It's amazing. If you read the book, it's great. It's like, at the end of it, you're like, why aren't these people obviously in prison? Clearly wrong. But if you ask them that, they'll tell you about the free market, and it's like, oh, you're really nuts. Okay, cool, gotcha.
The government guys here say that they've looked in the shop, but they don't think there's anything wrong with him. It's like, he's working on New York newspaper or whatever. He's like, he's keeping his nose clean. Like, he seems fine to us. So
his stepdad's the senator from wherever, Minnesota or something. Wasn't that guy just Joseph McCarthy? That was
pretty much.
Yeah, because he's calling everyone a communist, but the number always.
But then there's also like Jordan, who like they refer to as being a communist. But then he's also a part of the Republican Party, so like I don't know what the hell's going on here. So.
Well, there was a time when Republican wasn't synonymous with fascist evil.
Yeah.
We don't live in that time, but it existed at one. There was a time when it's like, hey, I want my rich friends to pay less taxes, but I don't want the country to implode. Those guys are literally gone now. Now they're replaced by guys like, it would be great if the country would implode. I don't know how to fix a toilet or make the power run, but I still want to see the country implode because I'm mad about taxes and or Hillary Clinton's eating babies or some other rational, like all fun stuff. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, they already own resources. They're not in debt. So if the country implodes, that just means they get to absorb more resources that other people can't afford. So.
I mean, I guess that's what they think's going to happen. I don't know. These don't seem like skill guys to me. Like,
no,
I can build a house with my bare hands. Like, okay.
No, I mean that's always like it's always the like psychotic son-in-law, like assistant manager who like doesn't know how to do anything and demands everything from all of his employees without knowing anything on how to accomplish it, and then takes all the credit and is never fired. So.
Yeah, those guys are weird. I've seen those people. They're strange. I don't know. It's like, how are you moving through life? Oh, you're vacant inside. You don't reflect anything at all. It's like, well, I'm successful, therefore it's working, and go to hell. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we know that works. I mean, you know it.
People
in the country or
people like, admire it. Yeah. I want that gig.
I want to be dull and powerful at the same
time. So because they can't prove what Marco's intuition here, Marco gets put on reduced duty. So
yeah,
which I really don't know. I mean, he's just kind of like what do you call that? Like a press liaison with the Secretary of Defense here.
Yeah, he's doing something in the Pentagon, but it involves talking to the press and dealing with the public
Yeah.
because he's kind of a gregarious guy in a way.
We cut to there's a conference about a cut in the budget from the military, which I think it's the Navy here.
Yeah.
And here we get Senator Iseland takes a moment to take over the conference for attention, and he claims he knows communists who are like in this like yeah
Card carrying members.
yeah.
Communist means they swore an oath and signed a card check to say they were in the Communist Party, which actually, this is an interesting piece of propaganda I learned about from labor studies. Communist Party in America never did card checks. It would be like committing suicide. It was like putting your name down on a list is like, yeah, you're done. You know who does card checks? Unions when they organize. The name, I get everyone's name on a card, and that way when it's like time to vote, okay, we had 500 people that signed cards and 500 people voted yes, you're in the union. So it became card carrying communists later on.
Okay.
Because yeah, only those communist union guys sign cards because they're trying to have a legitimate vote to be represented by someone. Which is like, that's where that term actually came from.
Huh. Okay.
Because the Communist Party in America did not write out, not at least after World War II, they didn't. It's like, yeah, it's just putting a bullseye on your forehead. The FBI is going to be following you around forever.
The Secretary of Defense like basically kicks him out of the press conference, and like, which really he doesn't really get kicked out. He just kind of like runs out as the press chases after him, and here Marco runs him down. He's like, "Hey, what's the exact number you gave?" But the number keeps changing, so you know it's a lie immediately. So, then we cut to this Corporal Melvin is having the strangling dream as well, the same one that Marco is having. And like, so we're back to the hypnotizing room, and this is where they set up the story. They make sure everyone knows the story they're setting up to that how Shaw got the Medal of Honor, or what's going to be the story.
Yeah, is this where they have the screens with the red balls and the green balls? Like, you moved here and he went there, and does that go? Is that the scene that was going on in the background?
Oh, maybe I can't remember.
It was very reminiscent of something I saw in the Prisoner TV show, which was around at the same time. It's like, did they get that from the Prisoner? Prisoner came after this, so.
And here they make Shaw shoot. I wrote Raymond. That's not right, but because Raymond, that's Shaw's first name.
Yeah.
It's like this really young guy just has a smile on his face who's like said he's like our mascot, and like it's just he's like we think, and they even like mentioned that he was too young to be in the army, but he got in there anyways. And he's just smiling as he gets shot in the head. It's very creepy. So
that's one of the things like makes this movie hit really hard.
Yeah.
Because they follow through on those scenes. I mean, they don't show his head coming apart.
Yeah.
But it's like right up to that point, this guy's as happy as a clam. And then just bang, it just like cuts the scene. It's like that's rough, you know. That'd be rough now, let alone then, because you basically have a teenager smiling into the camera and then just bang. It's like and you know, it's like, and now you're finding out like, oh, this is still in everyone's mind. Like this is coming back to haunt them. Yeah. Including Shaw, who's like you're not supposed to really like.
And then Melvin wakes up screaming from the nightmare. His wife's next to him. It's like, so he's trying to calm him down. And then he says like, I think he needs to write a letter to Shaw to see if he knows anything. And then I forget she asked something about like, what about Shaw? And like this triggers a reaction where he gives a canned reaction about like Sergeant Shaw is the warmest, best man I've ever met. So
yeah, he's the warmest, most generous, kindest man I've ever met. He's inspiration to us all. But it's always the same, and it's always said with like, it's almost like kind of like I don't know, like
almost monotone and stuff. But like it has like little emotion to it.
Yeah, like you can tell it's like, this is not a response.
Then we cut to Shaw goes to his apartment. He grabs the mail, which like the mail's like, I'm not sure how this apartment works. It's just like a stool outside the apartment, like out, but like just outside the elevator, and like the elevator's got like a like a door with a knob on it, so I don't know how all this works.
Yeah, it kind of seems
New York stuff. I don't know.
yeah.
That building was probably built in like the 1920s or something like that. So, or the set was. I don't know. There's a letter from Melvin talking about the nightmares he's having, and then Shaw gets a phone call telling him to pass the time by playing solitaire, and he just does as such. The phone rings again, and it says, "Can you see the Red Queen?" And then he gets instructions for a meetup and a checkup with like his handlers, his Soviet handlers. So they want to make sure he can still be brainwashed, which is interesting because like this whole like group of soldiers were like brainwashed, but they only like chose one to actually be their assassin. So
Yeah.
then they have multiple assassins set up. So, but I guess maybe Shaw, because he had such a manipulative mom, made him more susceptible to it. So he had less what do you call that? Like self-esteem or self-respect.
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
less self-awareness. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't a complete person. He couldn't stand up to uh a lot of he didn't have a lot of will
Yeah.
to stand up to that. So he kind of it was, and when you find out what's going on later, it's like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
And then we cut to, there's like a quick scene where there's a telegram about Shaw getting hit by a car, which I don't think we've seen these characters before, but it's just like they're just letting people, they need to cover up for the next scene. So because the next scene is Shaw's being set up and like cast to look like he had an accident, and then the communists are here to work on Shaw. This is talk about Mavol and Limbeck are the guys who were killed. Yeah, but Dr. Yen Lo shows up and he questions Shaw about like what he remembers. He's like, "Do you remember killing Mavol and Limbeck?" And then Shaw recounts the situation as them being killed by a mortar shell. So the fake, like implanted memory, that's what he remembers, not the actual memory of what he did. And they're like, "See, he has no guilt. He never killed those people." Then the communists argue what to do with Shaw, and like the security guy, like American handler guy, wants to make sure he can still kill. So they're like, "Can we just grab a vagrant and have him kill him?" so we know we can use him for an assassination. And then Shaw is just sent to kill Mr. Gaines, his boss, in hopes that like he'll get a more high profile job if Mr. Gaines is dead. Like he'll just take over his job, I guess. Which I don't necessarily think that's followed up on, but so yeah, we were assumed he killed Mr. Gaines because we have a scene where he like goes to Mr. Gaines, who's in bed, and who says something like, "Don't say anything about my sleeping jacket." But then like kind of just Shaw kind of like ends up like blocking out the camera into like darkness, and then we're just left to assume what happens. So
Yeah.
but there's not like, I don't think there's like a newspaper headline of like newspaper magnate murdered it or anything like that. So
And the sad thing was, is Shaw really liked this guy.
yeah.
He considered him like his actual father figure. Like he didn't have a dad, so this guy kind of filled in for that.
And and like he talked to him like somewhere along the way. Yeah, after he got off the planes, he talked to this guy and he's like, "I want to work for you, sir." And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So it's like a whole thing he made for himself rather than something his mom set up. So it was like something he was kind of proud of that he did. So
Yeah.
you got to, there's a knock at Marco's door. It's some colonel. Marco has a feeling that Shaw is a terrible person. And then like I wrote, he gets like fired from his position or something, but like he's not. So they put him on even lighter duty. I can't remember what really happens here.
It's not exactly clear.
Because it makes it
he's
seem
kind
like,
of
is he kicked out of the army now? It's like, no, that's not what happens. But
it's more, it's to me, it always seems like the vagary around that is either they didn't want to tell that story, or it's like the government's like, yeah, you're basically relieved of duty, but we'll still send you a check and everything, but follow up on this other stuff. We want to see where this goes.
So we cut to the next scene where this is where Marco is struggling to smoke on the train, which is very good. Like it's like trembling, and like the cigarette falls on a glass of water, and then he's like pulling up again, and like he's like keeps lighting the match, but he can't like get it to the cigarette in time before it blows out. And then like this woman's just watching him do this, which like when they first cut to her, it makes it seem like she's like 20 feet away, and then when they cut to like a more wide shot, it's like she's like 2 feet away from this guy. So. But I'm guessing maybe this is supposed to set up her like initial enthrallment with him, which is like he can't smoke, that's cute or something. I don't know. So he runs out of the train. Or he like runs to like the in between area on a train car, and then this lady follows him in, lights a cigarette for him. It's Eugenie Rose, or I forget. It's weird. It's a weird name, but then people just call her Rosie, or she says so. This is played by Janet Leigh. This is Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. This is the lady that gets murdered in the shower in Psycho. So
Eugene Rose Cheney. It's like Cheney, but it's spelled with Y's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She gives him her address, which I thought was like weird the way she was repeating it. It's like, oh, is this also like a Russian like agent that's triggering him or something like that? But that's not the case. I don't know if that was like an intentional misdirect or if I was just reading too much into this.
No, there was the people's strange behavior throughout this movie is a misdirect.
Okay.
They always try to, because they're like, sometimes when people talk, they'll just zoom in on their mouths.
Yeah.
And it's not always people that are saying or doing stuff like, when like Eleanor, when Shaw's mom's talking, like there's a lot of focusing on her face and mouth, but that's because she's saying things, giving commands, doing stuff. But yeah, some other people, they focus in on their faces and their mouths, and they're just like, oh, that seems a little odd. But it's like, I don't know if we're only seeing this through like Shaw and Marco's eyes of people who've been damaged, and it's like, oh, do they see everything like this? What's been done to their brains? Like, oh, she's giving directions, instructions, pay attention, and then that's how it's filmed.
Yeah.
As if these guys are vectored in.
Well, also
only said it once, but we don't know.
We know spycraft, like the honeypot thing, is like the easiest thing to do, and just like, oh, just take compromised people that are in high positions and just like give them a false sense of love.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you'll get access to everything. So
yeah, a lot of high achievers are lonely people. Beautiful woman that walks out of an alleyway and is like, I'm available for you. It's like, yeah, all reason and logic will leave their heads. That's how the KGB is like, we got him, boss.
Then we got to Marco's going to New York to see Shaw. Or that's what he says he's doing, because Rosie also lives in New York, because that's why she mentions her street several times.
Yeah.
Which, like me, is like, I need to write that down. There's no way I could hear someone say a street and like I'm gonna find that at all later on.
Yeah, just text that to me and I'll put it in.
Yeah. Then we cut to the scout or translator that sold him out, Sunjin, shows up to see Shaw. And so Shaw hires him because Senator Iceland promised him a visa, but he needs to work and he wants to work with Shaw. At least that's the whole cover here. So, which this guy kind of just disappears from the movie. Like after the fight, I don't think he shows up again. So
no.
We cut to Iceland has an argument with his wife to come up with an easy number to remember because he keeps giving the wrong number of how many people like are card-carrying communists in the Department of Defense. And so he's like putting Heinz 57 on a steak, and so that becomes the number on the card because it's a number he can remember. So it's like, why don't you just make it 100? Make it even. But I guess I don't know. That's a trick I use because I know. If you ever tell somebody like, oh, like it's just gonna take like 15 minutes, like enough people have been fed so much bullshit about something's just gonna take 15 minutes that everybody knows that's bullshit. But I'm usually good at figuring out how long a task is going to take, and so I use I guess I don't say time numbers that end in 5 or 0 because that's the bullshit numbers. So it's like, hey, do you have 27 minutes? Because then people are like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's got this down to a science. He's not quoting general numbers. He knows this will take exactly this long.
And weirdly, I end up being right. Well, I mean, either it is on the weird number I picked, or it is before it, and so either way, it's a win. So,
Yeah.
and if we hit that number, I'd be like, all right, I'm giving you an out. I have I have wasted the exact time I allotted. Do you want to continue, or you can go away? So it's okay. So, but either way, then people feel less like their time was wasted because somebody lied to them about like how long it will take. So.
Yeah.
Which really, it's not people lying; it's people being optimistic and bad at time management. So.
Yeah. They don't want to lie. They just, hey, let's do this, and then they want to have a 10-minute conversation about something unrelated. It's like, well, this is why you didn't make it.
We cut to Marco knocks on Shaw's door and Sunjin answers, and then Marco just immediately punches him. We have a fight inside the apartment. We got some martial arts on display here, which I don't know if this was like early martial arts. I remember like this scene being kind of talked about. I'm not sure if this was like some, I don't know. You always had those like crazy fights in like westerns and things like that. So maybe this isn't really that too. This isn't too like new or interesting here, but it is. It's kind of interesting to see Frank Sinatra do some martial arts.
And the way it was filmed and the camera angles made it seem even stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, what kind of fight is this? What are these guys doing? Are they jumping around the room? Like, what is this?
Well, yeah, it's almost like anime fights going on here because there's a lot of like thrown punches and holding poses like after the punch is thrown and stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
it's really. The only thing I'm missing is those big bubbles that come up and say "pow."
But yeah, while the fight, Marco yells some questions like, "What was Raymond doing with his hands?" And like, "How did the old lady turn into Russians?" So, like it's like that, those two questions over and over again. And then some cops just show up and grab Marco. We cut to Marco's at the police station, then Rosie comes to pick him up, where she kind of like, it's like, well, I didn't think this was going to be our first day picking you up at the police station, but so we're in the car with Rosie, and she tells a story of her breaking off her engagement with her fiance to pick him up at the police station, which is very weird.
Something else weird is Janet Leigh was served divorce papers the day they filmed this scene.
Oh, okay.
So, according to Jamie Lee Curtis, it was kind of a weird, what do you call that, serendipity for her.
Yeah. And then they kiss. Yeah. So.
Excuse me.
Then we got to Marco is at Shaw's again. Shaw answers the door this time. Then Shaw's very like cold and angry because he doesn't really want to do anything. He doesn't want to deal with Marco. So
yeah.
Shaw talks about Melvin sending him a letter about his nightmares, in which like Marco kind of perks up about because like, hey, those are my nightmares. Like, oh, somebody else is having the same exact nightmares. That's interesting. So,
yeah. What does that mean?
Then Marco leaves a message with Shaw to give to Rosie, like, tell her I'm going to Washington. It's like, what does he say specifically? Like the city, not the general, or something like that, Like, I don't know what that meant. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, it was like a reference to like, I'm going to D.C. not to see General Washington. Is what
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So yeah,
which I figure the confusion would be like, city versus state. So this like confused me. Like, so maybe this is just something, an old way to say things that has gone away. So
yeah.
Then we cut to Marco's in Washington, and they're going through like photos of like known Russians, which they just have like these two projectors set up where they kind of like just put pictures on there, and like whenever like he catches one that he remembers, he's like, hold that photo, and then he holds on two photos, and they're like, yep, like Melvin was in here like a day ago, and he picked out the same two photos. So we think we're corroborating evidence here that maybe the things you're saying are true. So this is kind of where like the colonel gets back in his graces, and so they're back on the job, and so they set up like a committee.
I remember what Marco says about the bald one. He smelled like a goat. I remember that. He remembered very specific things about him.
Yeah. I can't remember what the other guy was. So I remember the guy on the right, but I can't remember the guy on the left.
Yeah, I can't remember it myself.
But I think neither of them were like speaking roles in that scene, and like
no,
because that scene is weird because it is like it's like an amphitheater, or like, you know, what do they call, like those like, you know, those like
Oh, are
surgery
they
observation suites.
surgeries? Yeah, what are
Yeah.
those? Yeah, there's a name for those. Yes, I think it's surgical amphitheater. Yeah.
So like that's what that scene kind of looks like. And like there's a crowd in there, and it's like split up between like, oh, here are the Maoist like communists, and here are the Stalin communists, and like a couple other ones, like, because there's something mentioned about like, oh, your country's so young and naive or something like that, because he like he makes a comment against like the process here or something like that. So we cut to Marco and Shaw are drinking at Shaw's place. I think it's around Christmas, so
Yeah.
which I'm not sure if that's what makes them drink. um, and then Shaw talks about hating his mother, and then Shaw tells a story about being like bitten by a snake, and then we have a flashback of uh, Jocelyn cutting the snake bite with a razor blade and like dressing the wound, and she just happens to have like chemicals that like help the snake bite. And also he's talking about like, hey, you don't move in a snake bite because then it circulates the poison and stuff like that. Which I don't know how much that's true. Like probably, maybe. I don't
Yeah, I'm gonna assume it's true. Sounds good. Sounds true.
know. Yeah, this actress here does a great job because she's like suddenly introduced, and she has this very like bubbly personality, and then like she's very excited about this snake bite. And like her father's gonna be excited because like, is her father a doctor, or is he just like a curious guy or something like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought he was a doctor
Okay.
before he. Yeah, I think so. I think he was.
And then like, you know, and then the like she puts pressure on the wound, so she takes her shirt off, and so like so she just has a bra on and like these really short shorts. So I don't know how risque this was back in the day or something. So.
It might have been. I'm not sure.
So we cut to Shaw's checked out by a doctor. This is Senator Jordan. And then Shaw talks about when his dad died, he left him like this summer house, which like Iceland goes to like when he's too drunk or whatever, or to like,
Yeah,
or when he needs what do you call that, sweated out or whatever. So,
it was something like that. Yeah, when he's having the shakes or yeah.
Then he talks with Senator Jordan and asks to marry Jocelyn, which that makes everyone laugh. Which is a moment later on where it's like, where Shaw's like commenting to Marco. I was like, haha, I made a joke. He was like, you know me, I don't make jokes. Look how happy I am. Then we have like a blended montage of like Shaw telling the story, and then like moments of this memorable summer he had with Jocelyn, where they're just kind of like constantly like tumbling down on each other and kissing or whatever. So, and then then we have more like, then we kind of come out of that. We're still in the flashback, and we have Eleanor doesn't want him seeing Jocelyn because like she thinks Jordan is a communist. Or again, it's anybody who disagrees with her is a communist. Then she manipulates Shaw and saying Jocelyn is a Russian agent. This is like, you know, wouldn't you want me to tell you if somebody was a Russian agent? Like, yeah. And then we come out of the flashback, and then he's like still recounting it, and he recounts his mom writing a note, like a terrible note to Jocelyn, but then he signed it. And then and then the day after that's when he enlisted in the army, and he never saw her again. So, and then we have there's a good like line here because he's like sobbing. He says like, you know, I'm not lovable, but I loved her, which is very sad and kind of true statement, I guess, of a sad person. So, and we cut to Shaw goes to a bar and gets a beer and asks for a deck of cards, and then Shaw starts playing solitaire, and then Marco shows up. And then when Shaw sees the Red Queen, or here I think before it was mentioned it was called a Red Queen, but it's very specifically a Queen of Diamonds later on. So he leaves without saying anything, which then like Marco's like, hey, what are you doing? And then like Shaw gets in a taxi, takes off, so Marco follows on a taxi. Shaw makes his way through a pier, and then he just walks off of it, falls in the freezing water, because you can see like there's like little floating frozen bits of the water here, but it's not like that deep. It's only like I don't know, like 3 feet deep or something like that. Shaw helps him with the water, but Shaw doesn't remember anything after and including the solitaire. So, so it's just kind of like showing some evidence. I don't know if it's the cold water that woke him up or what, but it did get him out of it. So, we cut to Marco's worked with an agent to decipher how like the solitaire game triggers Shaw, and then Marco remembers something from like the hypnosis room about a statement about like the Queen of Diamonds. So he knows that the Queen of Diamonds is a thing here. Then we cut to Shaw has a meeting with his mother. She's invited him into like a Halloween or no costume party, and Eleanor promises that Jocelyn will be there because she's been like studying abroad for 2 years. Now she's coming back, and so Eleanor's throwing a celebration for her, and she wants them to get together. Then we got to at the party, and it's like, I think this is. It looks like a sheet cake that's like made as an American flag, but then it's like caviar.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's like scooped onto a cracker, and it's like what the hell is this thing?
This is gross.
Yeah, yeah.
Flag cake seemed yummy. Flag caviar that comes from Russia.
Yeah, I still have never had caviar, so
it's just salt.
Okay,
just fish. It's salty. It's fish smelling salt. I mean, I haven't had like the $1,000 kind.
Yeah, yeah.
I tried it once. I was like, well, this is fine.
Well, I remember one time I had anchovies, and I remember that like was always hailed as a thing that's like, these are awful, and it's like, they're fine. I even had like anchovy pizza. It's like, this works. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. It's kind of like, salty, kind of tangy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I prefer pepperoni, but like anchovies works. So
it will. It is the key ingredient to Worcestershire sauce.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So if you like that, you like anchovies.
Yeah. That used to, whenever we'd run out of steak sauce, and I knew like putting ketchup on a steak was seen as like horrifying.
Yeah. That'll get you thrown out of Texas.
So I would mix Worcestershire sauce and ketchup. And so like this, it's not just ketchup. So
it's 57 sauce.
Yeah. So I wrote Shaw's dressed up as a cowboy, but it's more like, I don't know, like a bullfighter or like an Arabian Night or something like that. I have no idea what's going on here. It's got like this flat top hat with a brim. It's like a low top hat, so I mean, I'm wrong with that. It's a flat top hat or flat top hat. And he's got like a vest, but then he's got kind of like flowing pants, like almost like MC Hammer pants or something like that. So.
I took him to be a matador, but
okay,
wrong. Yeah,
that's one of my guesses. So, well, at first it's like, oh, is this where they got the costume for like Woody from like Toy Story? And it's like, oh no, when you pull out, it's like, oh no, it looks nothing like that. It was like there's the whole like cummerbund piece or whatever, the midsection piece. That's okay. This isn't a cowboy thing. So
yeah.
He's nervous and short with everybody, and his mom takes him away for a drink because he's just waiting like on pins and needles to see Jocelyn. And then Shaw plays solitaire, and the Queen of Diamonds is drawn, and then he's basically in his catatonic state, and then Eleanor takes the Queen of Diamonds, and she's also like instructing him on things here. So it's like, oh wait, is she in on this whole thing?
Yeah. Yeah, because the trigger is, why don't you pass the time by playing a game of solitaire?
Yeah.
And then until the Queen of Diamonds shows up, then he's like, oh, he's in reception mode at that point.
Yeah. And then Josie comes in through like the balcony dressed as the Queen of Diamonds playing card.
Yes.
And then Eleanor talks with Senator Jordan. She's like working out political dealings. Like, hey, if I put my husband up for like a candidate, will you block it? And then like Jordan just goes out of his way to say everything he'll do to block her husband from the candidate.
With every cell in my body.
And then we got to, there's the empty Queen of Hearts costume in play, and I'm guessing they went somewhere to go have sex or whatever. So
yeah.
Then we cut to Marco's playing with a forced deck of like Queen of Diamonds. Like it's all 52 Queen of Diamonds. Which he kind of plays a trick with, with Rosie here, where he's like, pick a card, and she picks it, and he's like, Queen of Diamonds. Like, how'd you do that? And he shows her. It's like, well, they're all Queen of Diamonds. So, Um, and that's also where we get where Marco asked Rosie to marry him. Which, I guess in the early 60s, that's what you do. That's what you do.
Yeah.
So. It's like, well,
She's
I don't.
probably already pregnant, so better marry her.
Then we cut to Marco's waiting for Shaw. He's with Jocelyn. They like flew away and got married last night in like Maryland.
The old Maryland quickie marriage.
Yeah, which I feel like for the 60s, I feel like flying still got to be a whole to do, but maybe not. Maybe because you don't have all the security stuff there. You could just walk in and go somewhere.
Very, very expensive, but it could have been a military perk too.
Okay.
I'm assuming. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, it did seem like the Islands had had access to a private plane or something like that. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like Shaw's like out of the room for a moment, and Marco's talking to Jocelyn, and basically he's like telling her like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take him away for questioning. Like we gotta lock him up." And then Marco's trying to explain to her that he's like, he's kind of sick, and it's like he's perfectly healthy. Like nobody's healthier than him. And he's like trying to explain like, no, he's psychologically sick. So again, I don't know like. Maybe this stuff is new to people. I mean, I know psychology isn't new, but like being like presented in a movie as a thing and not like something private you have to hide from somebody or something like that. So Marco tells her like they have 48 hours to go on a honeymoon essentially, and then he's coming for Shaw. Then we cut to Shaw and Jocelyn are enjoying themselves when they like learn Senator Iceland is trying to charge Senator Jordan with treason, like because you like turn on the TV and that's what they hear. And then we like cut to a scene where there's like, it's Eleanor and she's like grabbing playing cards, and there's like, this is where it's setting up more directly. It's like, oh, she like with the Russians, which like not necessarily, but like, I don't know. I guess we'll suss that out a little bit later here. So
yeah, it's not clear. Mainly because of the way she acts and what her personal motives would be.
Yeah.
She doesn't believe in anything any bigger than herself. So she might be a communist of convenience to get things done.
Yeah.
But yeah, once she's propelled into power, which would make her more of a Stalinist communist than a Maoist. So yeah, interesting.
Cut to Shaw shows up at Senator Jordan's house and like in his hypnotic state where he just says things very coldly. He pulls out a silenced pistol and then he shoots the senator through a milk carton, which is very interesting. It's kind of way to do that. So like, well, we can't show blood, but we can show milk spraying out and implying blood. So, which they do like, yeah, I guess they do show like blood in a sense. They just don't show it like spurting from a wound. So.
Yeah, it's like around. Yeah, they have to. They're kind of walking in a fine line here.
He shoots him in the milk cart, and then he goes on the ground. He's basically dead. And then he goes up and shoots him in the head just to make sure. And this one, Jocelyn comes downstairs and like, "What are you doing?" And then he just shoots her in the head immediately. It's like, oh damn! So it's like, and then like Shaw leaves the building, and he's like just tears streaming down his face, but he's just like still just monotonously moving like so it's like, oh well, that affected him. So. Then we cut to Marco gets home with a paper with the news of the murders, but Marco knows Shaw did it, but that's not in the paper, so like they don't, it's just a random shooting for all they know. So so that'd be in the Act 2. We got Act 3. Shaw calls Marco saying he's going crazy and having terrible dreams. He's in an apartment across from like, because this would be the Republican convention, right?
Yeah, okay. The RNC.
Yeah. Then we cut to Marco shows up at the apartment. Shaw's in emotional distress. Marco brings over a little table and tells him to play solitaire with the stage deck. And so when the Queen of Diamonds is flipped, Marco just like, he goes in his hypnotic state and he starts asking him questions and giving him commands too. And then he has Shaw explain like what really happened in Korea on the patrol. Like telling them like, oh, we got kidnapped and then we got put in this room, and then Dr. Yenlo like from the Pavlov Institute like was brainwashed us and stuff like that, and just basically explains everything that happened. This is also where he admits to killing 2 soldiers, Mr. Gaines and Senator Jordan and Jocelyn. Marco, like, he keeps having him flip more red queens, which in here it's implying that each red queen puts him into a deeper state of like control or something like that. But I don't know. It's all, don't really know. Marco says to forget about the murders until he tells him to remember, and then Marco like tries to condition Shaw that like if somebody asks him to play like solitaire, to like not play solitaires again. And then there's a phone ring. Shaw gets his orders from his American operator over the phone, and they need him to like go to the convention, but they haven't told him what he's going to do just yet. And we cut to Eleanor explains how Shaw will kill the presidential candidate. So Senator Isley, because like she mentioned before when she was talking to Jordan, she's like, "You're not going to put him up for a candidacy, are you?" And she's like, "No, but I think he'd be a good number 2." And that's when you immediately put together, oh, they're going to shoot number 1, so he becomes the number 1. So. He's supposed to. Yeah. He's supposed to shoot the nominee at like a specific phrase. Which is this happening like before, or is this happening later? Is this like a kind of a flashback scene to like the instructions he's getting served, or is this like immediately after the scene? Like Shaw goes to see his mom, and this is where she's conditioning him.
Yeah, it's the second one. This is where Shaw sees his mom.
Yeah, but is this a flashback, or is this like the next scene, or this is like chronologically next?
It's chronologically next.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's supposed to shoot the nominee at a specific phrase, like 2 minutes into the speech. So like so she's like a Russian agent, or like not necessarily like she's using this to like to take advantage of the Russians to like assassinate, to basically win power, because that's ultimately what she wants. But then she like talks about like when they made her son the assassin, that's what she's like, I'm gonna burn you all down after all of this.
Yeah.
So it's
like, that was their way to control her.
Yeah.
Because they knew that they couldn't trust her because they know about bad people. And so this is a way it's like, making your son the killer is our control over you.
So like
not realizing that she doesn't really care about anyone but herself.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's the thing here. Is like, who do you think came to who on this? Did she go to them, or did they come to her, and then she tried to like?
They came to her.
Okay.
Because her husband was an idiot. He was never going to get into power, no matter. And a woman didn't have jobs like that back then.
Yeah.
So she couldn't run for it. And so it was like, well, we can give you a way in, but you're going to have to sacrifice something.
Okay.
Which is your son that you love him, and I'll just tell you, because this is where the book gets a lot darker. Because in this scene in the book, after she conditions him to assassinate him, she also uses conditioning to make him have sex with her.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, it's like true Oedipus sicko time.
I mean, she does like kiss him on the lips in this scene, but
that's what. Well, see, okay, this is what I was talking about earlier, because it's like anyone could kind of tell. It's like there's not a huge age difference between the two of these people, and it's like, yeah, Frankenheimer wanted that because he wanted this sexual tension between them, but you could only imply it subtly. You couldn't like just straight up have him do that in the movie in the 60s. There's also weird dialogue she uses because she talks about having like a filet mignon stuffed with steaks, and they're stuffed with mushrooms, and she was like, Raymond, it's a sexual experience. So there was all kinds of dialogue like that sprinkled in the movie that they made. Because what else did he talk about? Because see, in the book, she was like molested by her father.
Oh, okay.
That's why she's crazy. Like it kind of gives a backdrop to like, oh, this is what made her this damaged, evil person. It's also implied she might have killed her first husband to marry Senator Insland.
Right, okay.
Because Shaw was telling her, so remember when we had that Cocker Spaniel and it wouldn't sit properly, so you nailed its foot to the floor, mother? It's like, that's what you do to the people who displease you. So it's like, yeah, the book is like crazy kind of, and the movie intersperses stuff like that into it.
Okay.
Because that's why the book was like seen as kind of gross and unpopular. It's like, oh, a book about communism, political assassination, and incest. Great, that's fun. Everyone wants to read that. But some people called that like that's one of the worst books ever written, and other people are like that's one of the best books ever written because it like shows the reality of like this is how evil the world is. And so that's why it took like Frank Sinatra and JFK to like this should be a movie. We can't quite have everything in it because that would gross people out now. Let's be honest. Like people would be like, ugh. But yeah, back then it was just you had to read between the lines. But Frankenheimer did want to get it in there that like, yeah, this woman was a screwed up person who screwed up everyone around her and was willing to do anything to have power, including, make deals with the communists to brainwash the son. And...
Yeah, I always thought of the line that always like makes things weird is when she's like with Iceland and she's like, "Come here, lover."
Yeah,
so it's like
No, she said when she talked about because everyone like in the modern times, it's like she's from Murder She Wrote. She said she played it like a sick character.
Okay.
Like she wanted people to know, like, I don't want anyone to like this woman. I want them to feel sorry.
We didn't get to see the mother in Psycho, and here it is in Body. So.
Yeah, this is pretty much it. Yeah, this is.
And so yeah, and so like, are the Russians getting out of this just unrest in America, and so then that will win the day?
Oh no, they're getting President Insulin as someone they can control.
Oh, okay.
Because through his wife,
right?
Because he knows. I think I don't know how much he's read into it because he's a moron character.
Yeah.
But he pretty much does what his wife says. I don't know if he's read into it at all.
Well, like for a moment, I thought like Iceland's such an idiot that they don't even tell him what's going to happen. But then like when you're like, oh, he's in on it because he's sweating bullets because he thinks he's about to get shot in the head.
Yeah,
and he's
I don't
right.
know if he knows the whole story, but yeah, because he's essentially an alcoholic.
Yeah,
who's drinking himself to death,
but he knows how to get people's attention. So
yeah, which was actually what McCarthy was like that.
Yeah,
because I think Joseph McCarthy drank himself to death, if I remember right. Because even Nixon, after a while, was like, "We got to jettison this McCarthy guy. He's a liability." It's like when you're too crazy for Nixon, it's like, "Oh no, you've crossed the line."
But like it's even more today because like we basically live in an economy of attention nowadays. Because it's like, well, things aren't really worth what they are, and it's all up in the air, and nothing is really real. But if you can command people's attention, that's real wealth. So
yeah.
We cut to Shaw's walking about the convention center with a briefcase. Is this like Madison Square Garden or something? I thought it was.
Yes.
Okay.
Madison Square Garden.
He makes his way up to the rafters to like a vantage point to shoot the nominee. We cut to Marco's pacing around, nervous that Shaw hasn't called yet. And then like this scene's very weird because they have like the colonel like posed in the foreground and he's just staring and he's like saying his lines in the same way like Shaw says his hypnosis lines, where it's just like. Yes, like so it's very like monotonous and straightforward. And it's like, what the hell's going on here? But then like, I think Marco says something like, "Is it for the money?" And they're like, "No." And then like, "Let's get the hell out of here," because they know it's like now they immediately figure out this is like some political power grab. So then they like know like, oh, that's what's gonna happen. Like, they're gonna shoot the presidential nominee, and then Iceland's gonna take their place. Even though that's not guaranteed, but the guarantee is supposed to be like how his performance afterwards or whatever. So yeah, they race to the convention. We cut to the convention. It's like just a big confusing party. I don't know. Maybe that's how they're supposed to work. I don't know.
Well, and in this particular scene, it's discordant.
Yeah,
and it doesn't. It seems like a party, but everyone's like frowning or upset. and this is again John Frankenheimer's like, I'm shooting this through the lens of Raymond Shaw.
Yeah,
why everyone's behavior seems a little off in this movie. I mean, it's what he says in the commentary. So I'm assuming it's like, yeah. Unless he's going full Verhoeven, it's like, no, I meant to shoot it this way. It's like, okay. But no, he's known for stuff like that. So yeah, he did it.
So yeah, Shaw gets his vantage point. He opens up the briefcase with a rifle, and like it's like split into two pieces, and he puts it together. I imagine you know what the hell this rifle is.
I actually looked it up. It's a Russian rifle, but it doesn't actually list the name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me see what it said about it again, because it wasn't. I didn't even save it, so it's not. It was like basically, it was like generic Russian prop gun for movie.
right. Okay. Because the whole like putting together a rifle from a briefcase is very like
Oh yeah,
conventional, but I don't know like who was the first one to do it. So,
I'm not sure, because even the title of this movie is not like it wasn't made for this book or movie. So it came from somewhere else.
oh, okay.
So yeah, it's a Soviet Type 2 paratrooper rifle.
Huh. Okay.
The Soviets did not have a paratrooper rifle that is assembled as a two-piece weapon, though. So it's actually a Japanese prop rifle that they made for the movie. So yeah, that's what it is.
Let me cut to Eleanor whispers to Island to stop twitching. Shaw's never missed before. So this is where we know that basically Island's all in on the whole thing too. He's being puppeted around by Eleanor. Shaw puts the rifle together. We cut to Benjamin K. Arthur is the next president of the United States, or that's their nominee they want to put forth. Marco spots a vantage point and then runs to it. Shaw loads the rifle and holds the scope on Arthur's head. And then at the speech line, Shaw like moves the rifle from him to Island, shoots Island in the head and his mother in the head. It's like, oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah, they basically show it too, like from a distance.
Yeah, and then Marco opens the door to Shaw, and then Shaw's like, basically says like no one could stop them, so he had to. And then it's like, oh God, what did I do? And then he turns a gun on himself and kills himself. It's like Jesus.
Yeah.
Then we cut to Marco's with Rosie, and they're like going over passages of Medal of Honor winners, and then this kind of rolls into like him like trying to give Shaw some credit as a human being who was like you said, had his mind and soul captured and used against him and others. So it's like he didn't. It's like he did these awful things, but he didn't intend to do them. So it's like he shouldn't really be at fault for them. But
yeah,
and he's like
still like an unlovely person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a man who deserves love and respect, but a man who deserves pity.
And there's just a little cap on it here because then like Marco gets emotional about it, and then just like the end pops up. So, so that is the Manchurian candidate. So yeah, I guess I probably should have watched this before. You just sometimes it's a mixed bag you get with these like 60s movies, even though like 40s, 50s, and 60s, the movies can be wildly different quality. So
yeah. Yeah, well, this was definitely a movie ahead of its time and a book ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And it would be controversial subject matter now, let alone then. It was like there was nothing easy about any of this.
Yeah.
Which is what makes it cool when you put it into the context of its time. And I know they did a remake with Liv Schreiber and Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Which had all the hallmarks of being good, but I found it boring. So
I remember being fine, but maybe I was more intrigued by like the cinematography and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a cool looking movie. I remember that movie looked cool.
Yeah. So it was like I think it was like one of Demi's last movies. So
yeah, I think he died not long after that.
Yeah, are they both dead? I know his brother like tragically died. He was also a director, and he like died pretty young. Because that was 2004 that he did that.
Okay.
He did movies up to 2018. Or is he dead? No, yeah, he died April 26, 2017. So.
Yeah. And Joseph Condon also wrote the novels that were based that the movie Prizzi's Honor was based on.
What's that? I've heard that
Mob
before.
movies, yeah, because Jack Nicholson was in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're basically mob movies from the 90s.
Okay.
But he wrote the book for that, and he also wrote a book called Winter Kills or whatever, which was basically a retelling of the JFK assassination.
Huh. Okay.
So yeah, because he actually the Richard Condon kind of embraced all that.
People seem excited about this.
Oh yeah, he played games with it. He hinted around at it. He wasn't like, no, I never meant for any of this to be interpreted this way. He was always very coy.
Did he have a weird fan base he had to avoid, but would accept their money?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. Again, this movie was somewhat successful. It wasn't wildly successful, and again, it was shown on TV a few times in the 70s as like the Sunday night movie or whatever. But then it sort of like disappeared because Sinatra owned the rights to it and didn't really want to. Didn't want to.
It definitely lives in the pop culture, at least you instead of saying somebody's like brainwashed, you can say more specifically as, oh, is this a Manchurian candidate?
Yeah. And like I said, that term was invented before even the book was written.
Okay.
But it was basically like a subversive agent who was, operating on, I forget what the origin of it was.
Oh, what's that thing? What's that thing in psychology? Do you know, like a Confederate? What? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's like when you have somebody that's like intentionally sabotaging things, and they're called like a Confederate something, and it's like in psychological experiments. Fuck.
Don't know.
Okay, in an experimental situation, a confederate is an aide of the experimenter who poses as a participant whose behavior is rehearsed prior to experiment. So they're like a staged person in the experiment.
Oh, okay.
To try to trigger something. I don't know why they're called a confederate, but I just knew that was a term.
Maybe it means, because it's like an affiliation. I'm not sure. It's interesting use of words.
Well, we're sitting in promo space containing the supercut of scenes from the imperfect collection of the movies that make up the Verhoeven Effect. Nathan, what one scene from this movie are we shoving into space?
The garden party.
Okay.
Because it explains everything you need to know about the movie, its discordant atmosphere, the ever-changing nature of the perception of reality shown through the lens.
Yeah.
And and the different points of view that don't ever quite jibe, I guess.
Yeah.
This is because there's a lot of what you would call unreliable narrator in this movie that you just have to have that in your mind when you watch it.
Yeah.
It's like not everything you see is as it seems. It's how it's being interpreted, but it's all subtle. It's a lot more subtle than what it looks like.
Yeah.
It seems like, and that's if you believe John Frankenheimer. I do.
It's easier to believe people intentionally do things.
Yeah,
and sometimes that's the thesis of the podcast. We want to believe.
It makes it fun. Yeah.
I
want to believe that these things that we talk about are nuanced and deep, because that makes me feel smarter.
You can find us at Letterboxd username VHE. 1 out of 5 stars. What are we giving The Manchurian Candidate 1962?
Oh, definitely 5.
Okay.
It's one of the older movies. I would say, yeah, you got to watch this. It's actually worth watching. It kind of holds up especially in the context of the Cold War.
Yeah,
it's a really cool story because it has both external and internal enemies, which applies very much today because we have both.
Yeah. You can find us at verhoeveneffect.com, or you can rate our podcast on whatever platform of choice you're listening to. So you can rate us whatever you want. The only thing I haven't listened to is the highest rating. So remember, confuse the algorithm. Give us a boon, and it'll help you in the fight against the AI overlords.
Yeah.
That's
And
another.
by fight against the AI overlords, we don't mean enslavement or loss of job. It's your power bill not going up to $600 a month. So some jackass can stroke his ego. You don't want to do that.
You can find us at Twitter at Verhoeven Effect. You can find us at Blue Sky Social at Verhoeven Effect. You can find us at Facebook at Verhoeven Effect. And you can find us on YouTube at American Greed Factory. You can watch both this and that show live and unedited. So for the Verhoeven Effect podcast, I'm Conlon.
And I'm Nathan.
Goodbye, America.